We're now joined by Scott Richman, who's a regional director of the Anti-Defamation League, New York and New Jersey. Scott, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Anti-Semitism on the rise. The question is, how bad is the problem and what is driving it? The ADL did an audit in this regard. Talk to us about what you found.
So ADL's annual audit of anti-Semitic incidents is something we've been putting out since 1979, so for 42 years. It's not a survey. That's typically the way that people take the temperature of anti-Semitism in this country. It's actually a compilation of ADL's incident response work. ADL is responding to anti-Semitic incidents literally every day of the week in all 50 states. And that incident response work once a year is compiled, and we put out this audit. Our 2021 audit, which is the most recent one, was the highest on record. We had never seen such numbers for anti-Semitism, and that number is quadruple what it was in 2013, which is about the time when we began to see this rise.
Listen, there are so many factors driving the horrific nature of anti-Semitism in our nation. What are the top two or three?
Well, certainly social media, I would put up there as a top reason. Social media is a huge driver of hate. I mean, look, social media is important. It gives people a voice. It democratizes society, but it also gives haters a voice. And unfortunately, that voice is something that they have the capacity to put out there and for it to go viral in a way that it never did with television or radio or newspaper. And the reality is that in those old form of media, you needed to ask permission. A newspaper, a television station, a radio station needed to say, I'm okay with putting this out on the air. And typically they would say no. They would push it to the margins of society and say this doesn't belong. But with social media, no. you don't need to ask permission.
And we would say no.
And you would say no, of course.
Right. Of course, any reasonable and responsible media platform would say no. What I interrupt you because I'm sure there's some other drivers of this, but I want to get right to this. And it's not about Kanye West, or Ye as he is called today, and it's not about his meeting with Donald Trump with Nick Fuentes. You can look up who that is, but it's also afterwards when I listened to Kanye West talk about Hitler. I'm not even going to try to paraphrase what he said, but it was positive. In what world is that even remotely seen as a, quote, point of view that is to be given a platform?
Right. It's unfortunate. And, another reason I would cite is a general emboldening of extremists and extremist views. This is the type of statement that in the past would never have been countenanced. And suddenly it's been given credence. And we've seen that. People are given permission to say things and do things that they would never have been able to in the past. I mean, you're coming to me, you're coming to ADL, people come and ask the opinion of the Jewish community on these issues. When somebody like Ye says that he likes Hitler, that he likes the Nazis, this isn't just an issue for the Jewish community. This isn't just an issue of anti-Semitism. More than 400,000 people lost their lives in World War II who were from this country. Fighting against what that stands for. This isn't just about the Jews, it's about American values.
So in Charlottesville, with those marching and chanting, Jews will not replace us. When there is not universal condemnation of that, as if that's, again, a point of view that should be given a platform, and it's not condemned roundly and clearly by the then President of the United States and other prominent government officials at every level, but particularly national level, to what extent do you believe, Scott, that it, quote unquote, normalizes Jews will not replace us?
It does. And those statements or statements, any form of hate, any statement that's made that's anti-Semitic, it needs to be condemned roundly by elected officials, by people in positions of power and influence, or
and people who are not Jewish.
People are not Jewish, of course, or it becomes normalized. People feel, oh, I can say this.
That's not me, and you know better than I do. I'm sorry for interrupting, Scott. When people said, as it relates to the Holocaust, well, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, and then, you know the rest better than anyone.
Yeah, this is the way that anti-Semitism becomes normalized, and we've seen it over the past few weeks. When I spoke about this huge rise in anti-Semitic incidents since 2013, we're dealing with this not from a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, but for years. But over the past few weeks, we've seen this sort of normalization of anti-Semitism, celebrities and sports figures and people of influence saying things that make it seem like it's okay to make these kinds of statements. And we hear it. We hear the copycat crimes. We hear people saying things that mimic what they're hearing from their celebrities. And you take something like Negroes to Hebrews, the book, the movie that Kyrie Irving put out there. Now, that was an obscure novel. It was an obscure film that people had not heard about, and suddenly it skyrockets to #1 in two
Kyrie
categories
Irving's
on
an
Amazon.
influencer. Sorry for interrupting again. Kyrie Irving with the Nets is an influencer. He retweets it and then says, well, I don't really know what's in it, and there are some good things, and then apologizes way too late in the eyes of most. And then what was the responsibility of every other NBA player, every other athlete, and every other person of goodwill, Scott?
Everybody must condemn it. That's clear. No, Kyrie, as well as everybody else. I mean, this was full of anti-Semitic rhetoric. It blamed Jews for the slave trade. It talked about Holocaust denial. I mean, no arguing about this. It's unequivocal.
Final question from my perspective. We talked about social media, the role of, we're not mainstream media, we're public broadcasting, we're affiliated with public broadcasting. What is our responsibility in this fight?
The responsibility of media outlets is to responsibly lift this up and this issue, and of course to condemn anti-Semitism and not to give a platform or too much of a platform to this anti-Semitic rhetoric.
I assure you, Scott, and all those people of goodwill who care deeply about the problem of anti-Semitism, we will continue with our colleagues in public broadcasting to shine a light and to have meaningful dialogue about this horrific trend that has to stop. Scott Richman is Regional Director of the Anti-Defamation League of New York and New Jersey. Scott, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. All the best. You have an open invitation.
Thank you.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. Kane University. New Jersey Sharing Network. The Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. The Northward Center. PSE&G. Newark Board of Education. And by Wells Fargo. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ. And by CIANJ and Commerce Magazine.
I'm very grateful that I'm still here.
That's me and my donor when we went to celebrate our first anniversary.
With a new kidney, I have strength.
They gave me a new lease on life.
I'm still going everywhere and exploring new places.
Nobody thought I was going to be here. Nobody.
And I look forward to getting older with my wife. That's possible now.
We're transforming lives through innovative kidney treatments, living donor programs, and world-renowned care at 2 of New Jersey's premier hospitals.
They gave me my normal life back. It's a blessing.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.